Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video I'm going to talk about, basically it comes down to stories about being the ugly duckling and the black sheep. Some would say those are like the same. Ever since I was a child. And it was brought on by something that happened yesterday. It started yesterday, and basically it was something Adam had said that about traveling after, at some point he wants to start traveling and all, and it triggered a memories of things that he actually did. Well, one of them, the main one, was he did something 20 years ago that to me was really wrong, and that's a whole separate story. And it was about traveling, and it triggered that memory. And we used to travel a lot. We used to travel, we moved a lot. I met and married him when I was 18, and we basically started off, and most of it was my idea to keep moving, and we just kept traveling and traveling, and moving different places, different states, and so forth. And we really, I'm going to move on from there. That's one of the things that had triggered these memories, and bad ones. Then it also triggered a dream. I woke up this morning from a dream that when we would travel like that, when we would move, I would have a dream, a recurring dream, about the first guy, my first boyfriend that I actually dated. Okay, and that his name was Pete. And when I have this recurring dream, it's usually that I'm trying to find him, or I run across him and I'm in a place where I don't know. It's I have the thing about dreams. I don't believe in anything mystical, magical about them. I just think that they're the brain trying to work out problems in a very creative way, and trying to work out the problems, or trying to forewarn, like, you need to take care of this, or watch out for these people you're not thinking, or this person or these people, this kind of thing. And like I said, I don't believe there's anything mystical, magical about them. And it's a recurring dream about a person, but it's never the same place, the same scenes, the same, anything like that, but it's the same theme. Or it's usually the same person and the same theme, or either or. So, that was a lot to get out. Okay. Now this is, about, like I said, about being the ugly duckling, the black sheep. And maybe we all know the ugly duckling story. If not, go back and watch it. Read it or whatever. And being the black sheep, many of us know about what it's like to be the black sheep. But we are made to be these things, in their minds, and then in the way they treat us. We might not see ourselves like that, but it's the way what I have seen in my life, not diagnosing anybody, but the behaviors of people who have narcissistic behaviors and histrionic behaviors. I've known them since I was born. I was born into it, yeah. And they just treat the person the person or people, some would even say the scapegoat, in a certain way that there's more of them than there are of you, and like that. Well, at some point in my life, I was thankful for being the ugly duckling, the one that didn't fit in, the one that wasn't part of them, that one wasn't with her, like people these days say, tribe. And then I was the black sheep. I was not like them. I was thankful they saw that way, because I was not like them. And that was a good thing. And it is a good thing. But it took a lot of years to really think those things through, and I'm still dealing with some of it, because it's not that easy. As many of us know, that when you've dealt with people like that, the narcissistic, histrionic blend, or any kind of abusive behavior, dysfunctional family, whatever it is, that it might not be easy to get away from those people being attracted to you. Now, I didn't say it the other way on purpose, because I don't blame victims. Try hard not to. But they are attracted to us. They see something in us that they want to take advantage of. Okay, it's not us. We're not doing it. They see it, and then they come in with the BS, the master manipulators, all that, and we're in life. At some point we realize, don't believe everything you see and hear from these, even if they do. Even their actions could be lies. Okay, instead, and it makes it difficult to trust. I'm well aware of that, but that's another story. But anyway, I've dealt with this my whole life. And I'm still dealing with it. When he said what he said, it triggered this thought. It triggered that thought, then that dream. And the dream itself was about this kind of thing. It's when these others, these people with narcissistic histrionic behaviors, toxic people, they can treat their victim, their target, as though they don't really exist. That they're not, that they are subhuman. They're not up to the same standard as them. That they are, that their victim or their target is beneath them. Okay, somehow, some way, when really we're not. Really, if you want to look at it the right way, it's topsy-turvy, of course. They're projecting, and it's the other way around. But when you're young and you don't know these things, everybody has to learn something for the first time. Whatever they're going to learn, they're going to have to learn it. Experience it, think about it, hear it, whatever it is, the first time. And you don't have everything just packed in that how you should see it all and think about it all and all that just the first time. You didn't know it before, and do you think you're going to know it all after you had that one? No. Not my experience. Read the disclaimer in the description box below this video on YouTube. I could be wrong. Anyway. Okay, now maybe I should get to this story. Okay, the dream. And it's short. But in my recurring dreams, like I said, usually I don't know where I am. I'm looking for him, searching for him, or I run across him. Now Pete was like the first guy. Like I said, the first guy was my boyfriend. Okay, when I was 16, and I was working at a place where I was making hamburgers, and it was on the corner of the road. And this is out in the kind of like where it was like out in the country a little bit, and on a major highway, I think, and not one with not like an interstate, but just a 2-lane highway, back in the backwoods kind of thing. And I was working there at first school program, and what do they call it, VOC or something like that, vocational, whatever. But and he lived down the road from there, and he would drive. He was like, I was 16, I think he was 18. He would drive his truck past there to go to the store that was next to it. And anyway, and as it turned out, he was the one of the women I worked with. She was an older woman. He was a friend of her adult son. Okay, I don't know. Maybe her son was like 17 or whatever, and they lived next door. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, and the shifts would be 2 people, me and somebody else, or the 2 other people, whatever it was that worked, because it was a little bitty thing, okay. And anyway, I got to know Pete, and what I didn't know about him, I was 16, and back there we were very sheltered, and living there, people are still, I think, very sheltered. From the rest of the world, really, except what you might see on TV. But there's a lot. I don't think people watch too much TV. It's more of interacting with other people. During the pandemic, maybe not. But anyway, so what I didn't know about him was that he drank. He was an alcoholic. He eventually, from what I've heard, he was an alcoholic. He became an alcoholic. He was 18 then, like I said. Okay. But anyway, he and I dated. Well, then one day, he just, we dated for a while, and I really, really liked him. And then one day, he just ghosted me, what they call it these days, ghosted me. And we didn't have cell phones back then, none of that kind of stuff. And I saw him drive by with another teenage girl that was in my class, actually in my grade, and I think that was when I was 17, and about to graduate, something that, and she was a daughter of a preacher that lived down that same road, past, by where he lived, and or down by where he lived, and they were apparently dating. Okay, she was sitting next to him, in the truck, like you do when you're young, maybe only when you're young, I don't know, but not a word to me, nothing was said to me, none of it. And I was that wasn't the first time for me to be very confused about what's going on, young, sheltered to the outside world, not sheltered to things that people do, but in that world, it was like a totally different world from the outside. People even that have heard of it say that they're, one of them was a guy I dated when I was much, adult. He said, yeah, that place, I was going back there, and he said, make sure you get up to warp speed so you can crash, you can get through the bubble that surrounds them. Yeah, it's that shield they have around them. Yeah, it's known for that. Oh my goodness, and some people say it's like 50 years behind, and on and on. But I was shielded from that kind of thing, and that was something that that was, in a way, it was not taught right to young people. I was neglected anyway. I had to learn all the things once I turned 18. It seemed like, so much still learning to this day. Things that you should have been taught. But hey, at my age, yeah. Anyway. But anyway, so that was the Pete. Now, anytime that I was about to move or whatever, I would have this recurring dream about Pete. And like I said, I moved around a lot. And sometimes it was before I knew that I was going to move. And sometimes it was just knowing that I was going to move. Okay. Now, like I said, I don't think of anything mystical, magical. There had to have been something in my mind, So when I had this last night, or this morning, really, woke up from it, this recurring dream about Pete, I was like, oh, but wait, because it kind of goes along with something Adam had said, and it triggered me to think that way, and, and on and on. But anyway, in the dream, what it was that I ran across him, Pete, as an adult, as my age, or maybe a little bit younger, but I think my age, and I ran across him in a place I never knew before, but it seemed like it had mountains. I think it's because I was watching something that had mountains in it yesterday. And anyway, or I've seen a lot lately about mountains, and it was like I don't know, I remember it was very white. The walls were very white. It was something like maybe a bar, but not, it was like very clean, very, I don't know, but it was very white. And like executives would go there, just, like something where executive goes. And I ran across him, and it was like, wow, I haven't seen you since I was really young. And he was sitting there, and then he started talking to me. I don't remember what we were talking about, nothing like that. But I got the picture that he wanted to spend some time with me while we were in town, and, all this kind of thing. The usual BS. Okay. And then I said, well, while I'm standing right here, I might, I was going to go back to, I guess, my hotel or whatever room, and I guess it was attached to it or something. And I said, since I'm here, I might as well get myself something to eat. And he sat there, and I don't even remember what he said, but he started saying things that told me, in my dream, this is what I was, in my dream, I was thinking this, not now, but in my dream, was that he was trying to tell me that he was not even going to spend any money on somebody like me, okay? Yeah. To buy me some dinner. And even though I didn't ask, even though I said, I'm going to get me something to eat, that is not saying, will you buy me, or it's some expectation that you would buy it, for me and pay for it. But he just went on like that, and everything that was coming out of his mouth, it was like, okay, now I'm mature enough to see. It's not paranoia to think, and being paranoid to think that this is what it really means. And in my dream, I was interpreting the right way to think about when somebody says something like that. And when I was younger, Younger, I wasn't, like I said, we all have to learn something the first time, and we don't have all the information in our head that first time. When I was younger, yeah, I was bad, just like anybody who's new to it, what some of these things mean and how they're said, and how they're said and what they mean and all that. And it's not just going to be there, like you turn on a switch. Maybe some are quicker to the understanding it, but that would have been that they've experienced something like it before. You see, it's not just going to be there. Keep saying that. So basically, it was that he was telling me I'm not worthy. Okay, that was the whole kind of gist to it. Now, when I was a teenager and dating him, and he started dating the other woman, somebody finally told me, I think it was the woman that worked with me, that was his best friend's mother, and she said that it was because I was 16 and he was, at that time, I think he just turned 19, and they call it jailbait. Well, there was nothing going on to be jailbait. Seriously, nothing. And I was new to it. I had no idea what that meant. I still really don't. I mean, I get the gist. I understand that. But, yeah, it was like that. And the woman the teenager that he was dating, I think she had just turned 18. So that was why. It was okay. But no, the whole ghosting, no telling me. And I would see him and her drive by, or just him drive by, and I would get some kind of like, oh, like hopefully. I really do, I was thinking about this today, I really do, I think that I lived far too much of my life in like a romantic, like I romanticized things. Like I was always thinking some romantic way. And when I was really young, I started reading romance novels when I was very young. And I would get them from the library or whatever. And I think that I lived way too much of my life thinking in those terms. And also thinking that I would be treated the same as everybody else. Well, I wasn't, because I was very different in different ways. The whole ugly duckling thing. For example, like I said, I was the black sheep, and I was saying, like, yeah, glad you noticed. I am not like you, and I don't want to be. Okay? But when you're a kid and going through school and treated that way, because I really didn't think like many of them. I really didn't. And I was really smart, and being a girl, how they were, well, you might not know, I did a whole video on that, how they were back then. I think I put it on my original channel, though, yeah, for this topic. But no, that was odd to them. I shouldn't even say what it is, because there's no reason to treat people this way because of their differences. But yeah, starting way back then, I was treated very different. And that song, At 17, isn't it? It was Janis Ian or Janis Joplin. I cannot remember. Yeah. But isn't this song? I mean, the name of it, At 17. But it was really, it hit me back then. But it wasn't so. It was because I'm different. I was different than the rest of them. I didn't think the same ways, and so on, like I just said. But anyway, like I was saying, when I was thinking about this, I realized that this is going to take more than one video. It might take several. And so I'm packing in this one quite a bit. But I do think that I had trouble being made into this from a very young age. Like this one. When I was in kindergarten, I went to a private kindergarten. Now, I have 5 siblings. And at that time, the youngest wasn't yet born. I was the 4th. Okay, and I was in a private kindergarten. And I had a sister who, she went to the private kindergarten. I think we all did. And I was the 4th. She was barely older than I. Okay, she had just attended it, and she was in the first grade then. That's Annie. You know, I talk about her. Well, anyway, that was private school, but the public was right behind it. The elementary school was right, I guess you could say, side by side or right behind it, whatever. And she was attending that, and we would walk home from school together. At least I think I remember that. But anyway, our mom got called to the school one day and I was standing there while the teacher was telling my mom, what happened, and that said that I was sitting out on, you know how some playgrounds back then had tires, those big tires, and kids would play on them and stuff. She said I was sitting out there and I was kissing a boy. And I remember then, what I was saying then is I do not remember doing that. Back then when I was in kindergarten, I was saying I did not do that. I don't know where that story came from. I did not do that. And I got in trouble for it. Okay, my mom was called to school for it, saying I was kissing a boy. You know, kindergarten. What was I, 4 or 5 years old, maybe? 4 years old? I don't know. Anyway, and when I was thinking about this today, I was thinking, you know, it probably was that Annie told the teacher. Because Annie did a lot of things to get me in trouble. I mean, oh my goodness. Unbelievable, the things that she did starting really, really young. And, but Annie, she was one of those with the narcissistic histrionic behaviors. Even then, she didn't want to do her homework. She didn't want to do her work. I was doing it for her when she was in kindergarten. I was doing her homework for her. And because she just wanted to go play. That's all life was about, playing. And that just continued to a degree. Anyway. Okay, one other thing. Now, about not fitting in and everything. See, now I'm the type that I really don't judge people. Now, when I was back then, like I said, Pete, drank, which I really didn't know. And then, like I said, from what I heard from Annie many years later, that Pete was an alcoholic, and that I didn't see him. But anyway, one of the things I didn't mention was that he was illiterate. He actually dropped out. I think it wasn't the third grade. I think the woman that was the mother to his friend dropped out in the third grade. And she had something like 14 or 15 children, and some of them died, but yeah, sad. But Pete, he couldn't read. Okay, he just could not read, like I said. And he was dropped out at like 6th grade, I think. And now, back then, I just didn't judge him by that. I'd never judged people by something like that. I just don't. I'm not that type to judge by. I was never that. Now, some would say I should have. And for me to have realized that, the kind of feeling I had that he was rejecting me, like I wasn't good enough, I shouldn't have. Some would think that I should see it the opposite way, that I was too good for him. And some people had said that back then, that I was too good for him, because I was smart, like basically the smartest girl in my class, my grade, and or one of. And like a guy I worked with at that place, we found out, he started working there. He was in my grade at school, and we found out that we were making more money than the others that had been working there longer. And I said, that's not right. He said, yeah, it is. He said that because they know, the owners know that we're from a better class. I was like, oh no. And eventually, may have been one of the reasons I became a social and behavioral scientist. Okay, yeah. Those experiences. But that's how he saw it. I did not see it that way. But I wasn't one to judge that way. Okay? I just didn't. But instead, I would be made to feel like I was the one that was not deserving of the others, of anything. Deserving of anything. Like I said, this is going to take more than one video. Hopefully I can stick to it. And but that's enough for this one for now. So anyway, like I said, if you, it's going to be more than one. If you're not subscribed already, you can click that circle icon that should pop up and to subscribe. And I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.